From Super League to Olympic distance to age group world records to Kona. Go longer with the right fuel at the right time with SFuels.
This is a phenomenal bike ride, and I can tell you he's so casual. This is his first time he's ever biked the full 112 miles here in Hawaii. He's never been up to the turn in Harvey. He's certainly been up there today. Doesn't he look...
Hey everybody, welcome back to Day 3 Breakfast with Bob from beautiful St. George, Utah. My name is Bob Babbitt. We're brought to you by Masters Spa, Zoot Sports, the original triathlon brand, HOKA, Let's Fly, SFuels, Go Longer, Biostarks.com. Use the code BWB10 for a 10% discount. Quintanaroo, Forum Smart Swim Goggles, Premium Plus Sports, and, of course, our Challenged Athletes Foundation. Our next guest was just here in Utah back in May, took 13th at the Ironman World Championship here in beautiful St. George. Mr. Matt Hanson joins us. Matt, how you doing, brother?
It's good to be back. You can always tell how big the season is by how many times you get to do this interview. This is like number 3 or 4 for the year.
Yeah. We've had we've
St.
chatted
George, Kona, and
yes,
back in St. George.
I love it. And early on in your career, you didn't think St. George was a good race for you, right?
Yeah, I mean, living in Iowa, it's tough to get ready for the hills that we have here. But since we've moved to Colorado, it's a little bit easier to prep specifically for this course. So I was excited to come here and do the World Champs in May. And
yes.
Yeah, excited to be back.
Well, and you've been one of those guys who sort of is able to do the shorter distance and the longer distance successfully, and that's a tough balance.
It is, and it's seeing fewer and fewer though. Like you almost have to specialize. I mean, you look on the women's side. I think there's only 1 or 2 that did Kona and here for the double.
Right.
You know, there's a few more on the men's side.
Right.
But yeah, it's definitely a tough task, and at some point maybe I'll have to pick one and stick with it. But I'm having a lot of fun racing right now, so no reason to change.
Well, and you've been. You did both the U.S. Open, Canadian Open, Collins Cup. You've been doing a lot of the PTO events.
Yeah, I did all 3 of the PTO events this year. They'll have a few more next year. That should be announced here very shortly with all the dates and details. I think it's been fun sitting on the board and watching that vision come to fruition. It's been a really important thing for bringing us together as a sport, and I think it's helped kind of put the pressure on the Ironman broadcast as well. I mean, the Kona broadcast was fantastic. It was a huge step up from what they'd done, and so the rising tide lifts all ships. So I think it's a great time to be a professional triathlete.
I couldn't agree with you more. You've got Super League, you've got the Olympic format, we've got Challenge, we've got Clash, we've got PTO, Super League. You got it all, right?
Yep.
You got all these different events. So as a pro, it's a great era to be a professional triathlete.
Yeah, it's definitely very different than when things,
you started.
Yeah, when I started in 2014, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
The other side of that, what I love what PTO has done with maternity leave, paternity leave, just making people feel like they're professionals.
Yes, giving them some of the same type of benefits that a working professional would in another career.
Right. Well, and you're at the part of your career where there's less in front and more in the rearview mirror, but it's important to you to be part of the PTO in terms of that next generation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in terms of years, I've probably got more behind me than in front of me. I think in terms of great races,
you never know.
Hopefully I have more in front of me.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I want to leave the sport better than when I came to it. And, the sport's been very good to me as an athlete and then as a coach. And so being able to be a part, serve a small role on the athlete board has been a good, next step.
My feeling is that if the PTO did not come around when they did, there would be a lot of pros who would not be pros any longer.
Yeah, 2020 would have put the nail in a lot of people's coffins. They stepped up big. The investors for the PTO really helped us out, and they stuck to it. When so many people were pulling money back, they said no. Let's make sure
invest more.
Yeah, let's up our game and show them that we're here to stay. We mean business, and when times are tough, that's when we're going to support you the most.
So right now we've got Canadian Open, U.S. Open, and I tell people all the time when you finish 20th and get $5,000 at a race, $1 million prize purse, that changes everything, because now there's no reason to pull a plug and go, okay, I'm back in 20th, I'm just going to drop out. It's like, no, it's $5,000. If I finish 21 and 40th, I'm still getting $2,000. I'm sort of getting my way paid. I'm playing a little bit with house money.
Yeah, I mean, and that's important. I mean, we want people racing to the finish line, no matter where they're at. And, I think Ironman's done a better job
Absolutely.
with that, paying 15 deep at the World Championships now. We saw the pullout rates go down significantly, which is good. I mean,
yeah.
You got to make that decision, especially in an iron distance race, that at some point, if you're not going to make any money,
it's a business decision.
Yeah, and I hate that it sometimes might come to that. I thankfully don't have to make that very often, but there's been a few times where, it's the temptation is there to try to save yourself a little bit.
Well, because there's other races coming up.
And go race again, yeah. But when they extend the prize field down a little bit, that helps it, so you can this year going to the 2 Ironman World Championships, I didn't have to pay to work, which is good.
It's always nice. How many athletes that you coach are racing here?
Total, we have 23 under the Matt Hanson Racing umbrella, which is very exciting. We had over 15 in Kona as well, so it's been a really good year as far as that's concerned. And yeah, it's a lot of fun seeing familiar faces as you're crossing directions. Obviously, with the 2-day race format, we get to have the women out supporting the men. I really hope that in the future we flip flop every now and then, so we can spend we can spend a little time returning the favor. And I'll go out. The course goes right by my where I'm staying, so I'll go out and watch that. But I don't want to be up on my feet.
Too much energy.
Yeah, but
that's hard.
Being able to do that the next day would be a lot of fun, and I just think that with what we're trying to do with the quality and everything, going back to back or going every other would be a smart move.
Well, I look at your win at Des Moines this year, right? 51:42, 4:09, 57, 2:49:01, 7:56. That's a complete race. Like every aspect of it was really, really solid.
Yeah, I mean, I came out of the St. George World Champs in May, and the body was feeling good. I figured I had a couple more races before I needed to shut it down. So I went to the North American Championships 70.3, was able to put together a good day there, and then, going to Des Moines for the first full there, where I spent so much of my adult life in Iowa. It was just great to be there and have so much fan support, and family support on the course, because it was easy for the people that I knew to get there, and so that was a lot of fun. And I went out there, and that's one of twice in my career that I've put out a best bike split. So I went out there to ride really hard and see how well I could run off of it to kind of test things leading into Kona. And I faded a bit in the last 10K, but that's why you go into a race that I already had the Kona slot.
Right.
So I got to experiment a little bit and experimented on the bike and found out that I need to make a few adjustments to get through that last 10K.
And in the St. George race, when you run 2:43 on this course, I remember beforehand everybody was talking about 7,000 feet of climbing on the bike, 1,500 feet on the run. It's a brutal course. Do you gain confidence from that for this race?
Yeah, absolutely. I've ran well here at the 70.3 as well when I was here last year. I think I went 111 or something like that. So it's a strength run for sure. This year there's throwing a few more curveballs and making us run down the fairway.
Yes.
I haven't done that since ran on the grass golf course since high school, but that's all right. That's part of the fun and just adds another wrinkle to the race.
And is this the end of the season?
Absolutely not. No. I'm fit and I'm healthy so far. So
you're gonna race
as long as I stay fit and healthy. I'm planning on racing an Ironman at the end of November. Likely be Arizona. That's the plan, and then I'll do Clash Daytona.
Good.
And then I'm taking a no-bike vacation with my wife. We haven't done that since our honeymoon.
Wait.
So yeah,
no
leaving
bike?
the bike behind. I'm taking a break. So
you think you'll get the shake sometime during
probably, but I'm looking forward to that. I haven't gone 5 days without a bike for a while, so it's just 5 days. But it'll be fun, and definitely, I earned it this season. I've raced a lot, and then we'll be honest. If I can do my job and get the Kona slot in November, I'm going to take a bigger break than normal, and maybe not race till early May or end of April, early May. And the Kona this year showed us that the game has been raised a little bit.
Yeah.
So I need a big block of training to close that gap, and so that's the plan. Get the job done early on. Try to get the Kona slot in November, and then really focus on putting all the eggs in the October basket again.
Have you had your best race in Kona yet?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, right.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
I took a step forward there this year. I didn't have a good swim, and
right.
I was way back early on the bike. I think at the start of the climb, I was in 50th overall, and there's a lot of mental discussions going on at that point, and just trying to keep into it. But I just stuck with my race and started picking people off one by one on the end of the bike, and then was able to run up into the last payday of the day. So wasn't what I wanted when I went there, but I was able to put together a solid day, at least bike and run. And so when you start off that rough, to still be able to get somewhere in the mix. It was a learning experience. So now, and a bit of a confidence booster despite not getting the result that I wanted. So yeah, now I just built.
You got a paycheck.
That. Yeah, I did.
Well, and what's cool about that is you look at 2015 DNF, 17 34th, 18 33rd, 2019 DNF.
Yeah.
And I remember Ben Hoffman had a very similar type of intro into Ironman. Then all of a sudden he was 15th, and the next year he was second, something like that. So there's really, now you sort of, the light bulb goes on a little bit and said, okay, I didn't have the swim I wanted, but the rest of the day was good, so I just need to work on a few other things.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Thomas Edison approach to racing, right? Figuring out what doesn't work is
exactly.
part of progress.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and so you go from the heat of Kona to what's going to be, it'll be 20 degrees colder when you get on the bike than it is in the water.
Yes.
That's a little different, but you're in Colorado now, so cold isn't a big deal.
Yeah, I mean,
and you're from Iowa. Come on.
Exactly. I do have Raynaud's, which means my hands and feet won't be functioning, or I won't feel them probably the entire day. So that's a circulation issue where the hands and feet just go completely numb.
But you can grip okay, or sort of.
Thankfully, I have just the push-button shift, because it might be a little interesting early on.
Yes.
But, that's all right. It just means there's more blood to go into the quads. So we'll be all right. I typically have performed pretty well in the cold.
Yes.
I haven't done a cold race this year since the first one of the year in Chile. So
right.
I'm looking forward to, a cooler race this weekend, and then, another cooler race in November.
When did you find out that you had that condition? Was that something that you've had as your whole life?
No, 10th grade, I think, is when it really showed up. And, that's pretty common.
Yes.
Just about, midway through adolescence, it develops, and my dad has it as well, so it's a genetic thing.
It's something where you're feeling in your hands, feeling in your feet.
Yeah, it just feels like fire.
Okay.
It's very, very painful when they get really cold, but I can deal with the pain as long as the legs are functioning. What's the saying? Losing hurts a lot worse. So, yeah.
So getting a podium here, what would that mean to you?
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I mean, really, the focus is on nailing the first hour of the race.
Yes.
If I can nail that first hour, I think I'm in a good spot. The last 3 races, I've had a rough start, and been trying to do a few things to figure that out.
Yep.
But yeah, the goal is to nail that first hour, and if I'm in the mix, then I'm a happy camper once we get to the run.
Matt, it's always such a treat to chat with you, bud.
Thanks for having me back.
Matt Hanson is our guest again, everybody. This is Breakfast with Bob from beautiful St. George, Utah. Hold on. We'll be right